You know the moment well. You say hello, you trade a line or two, and then the silence arrives. The conversation dies in your hands, and quietly you decide it is your fault. You are boring, you are bad with words. But here is something worth hearing. Being good at conversation is not really about being clever or funny or having fascinating stories to tell. It is mostly a few small moves, and anyone can learn them. Start with the biggest surprise. Most people think that to be liked, they must be impressive, witty, and interesting. The research says almost the opposite. What actually makes people warm to you is curiosity. Harvard researchers studied thousands of conversations and found that people who ask more questions are better liked. In one speed dating study, those who asked the most questions got a second date about 39% of the time, against 22% for those who asked the fewest. For a quiet person, this is wonderful news. You do not have to perform, you only have to be interested. The single most powerful move is the follow-up question. Not a brand new topic, but a question that digs into what the person just said. They mention a trip and you ask, what made you decide to go there? They mention a new job and you ask, what surprised you the most? A follow-up shows that you were truly listening, and it keeps the conversation alive without you needing any clever material of your own. It also helps to ask open questions instead of closed ones. Did you have a good weekend only earns a yes or a no, and then the door shuts. What did you get up to this weekend opens it. So trade your yes or no questions for ones that begin with what, how, or why. These invite the other person to say more, and more is exactly what you want. But be careful of the interview trap. Question after question after question does not feel warm. It feels like an interrogation, and rushing through them can actually make a conversation fail. The better rhythm is gentle. Ask, then listen, then share a small piece of yourself, then ask again. When you offer a little of your own story, people trust you and like you more, and it stops the exchange from feeling like a survey. Now, a quiet trap to watch inside yourself. When someone tells you something, you will feel the urge to say, oh, the same thing happened to me, and pull the story over to yourself. That is called a shift response, and it quietly closes their moment. Try a support response instead. Oh no, what happened next? Keep the spotlight on them a little longer. Your own story can wait until they have finished theirs. The small sounds matter more than you think. A soft really, an that is amazing, or a simple tell me more. These tiny signals tell the speaker that you are with them, and they gently push the story forward. There are 3 easy levels you can lean on. A quick sound to show you are listening. A short warm reaction, like you really thought that through. And a light question that asks for a little more. You do not have to be brilliant. You only have to be present and to show it. Learn to use silence on purpose, too. When a pause appears, do not panic and rush to fill it. Wait about 3 seconds. 3 seconds can feel like forever, but very often the other person will step in and take the conversation somewhere deeper. Silence is not the conversation failing. It is simply room for the next real thing to arrive. Choose topics that open up rather than close down. Plain facts dry out fast. Where are you from? What do you do? And then you're stuck. Experiences and dreams keep flowing. One study found that talking about travel led to roughly double the second date rate of talking about movies, because travel pulls up happy memories and quiet hopes. So ask people not just what they did, but what they loved about it. In the end, you do not need to be the funniest or the most fascinating person in the room. The best conversationalists are often the quiet ones. They simply listen well and stay curious, and that is something a shy, plain-spoken person can do better than anyone. Next time a conversation starts to fade, do not scramble for something impressive to say. Just ask one more question about what the other person cares about. That one small question is usually all it takes to keep the door open.